That's a difference.
Yep, thank you. So basically now he's given me all the bills and that's where we're at. So in order for, I didn't want to pay any of them until we got it figured out.
So it's still.
Well, he's overspent by 3454, but initially the project was 1,400 over budget to begin with.
Well, what we went by, what was done on the drawing. I'm not a contractor or electrician or anything else. Mr. Hauser had this drawn up, and you all looked at it. That's what we went with.
So did Steve get the bids for you?
Yeah.
He got them?
The thing is, after all this got started too, there was nothing here. It says electrical to the 2 coolers minimum cost. There wasn't no price on the electric. Now, the first electrician thought everything was in the, whatever the boxes, the control boxes, electric boxes. But then when they got to start hooking stuff up, there's nothing in those boxes.
Well, I can see, I mean, if you had a $1,400 bid, price become $1,825, that's $425.79 additional over and above what you already were expected to pay. Did you have the electric bid in there?
In what Mr. Hauser, no.
In your total for it? Looks to me, and the reason I look at this, because when I come up with 29,900 and you had 28,500 for the project, that's exactly $1,400. And that's exactly what you're telling us, the 1,400 was the electrical.
Yeah.
And that's the same number, and it just leads me to believe
That was left off the original.
it was not included in doing the original project at all.
In the
Original.
Original.
So Steve put that together and failed it.
Yeah, I didn't, I'm no artist. I mean,
No, I'm just talking about collecting bids. He's usually pretty good at what he does. I'm surprised.
Was it bids or were just estimates?
estimates.
That makes a different story there.
Yeah, I know. Everybody, they're not holding their price necessarily. That's what I
Yeah.
think of it. But you need to have something included for electrical. It's not going to hook itself up.
Yeah, so that wasn't even included.
That's where I'm just, whenever you see 1,400 difference and 1,400 as a estimated electrical, it kind of points in that direction.
Well, that's a little over 10% over what we thought it was gonna be. So that's about any project anymore, it seems like. It still doesn't help us
Yeah,
any where we're at right
estimates.
now, though.
Estimates are,
Yeah.
they're not there.
Yeah, based on what information the contractor's given his estimate. It's just like Cleveland's. I get it if they never figured anything for the handrail. It's not inexpensive doing that work. It's one of those things.
I mean, that's a safety issue. I mean,
Yeah,
it
we
could have
don't-
been brought back to us, but it's a safety issue. It needs
Well,
to be
it's gonna
done
have to
anyway.
be
Yeah.
done, yeah.
If Holster was to come in,
Yeah.
it would be they
So-
shut you down.
You know,
Fine.
Mr. Hauser and I, neither one thought about it. And really, after they got it all
Right.
Mhm.
put in there and we walked in there, I'm just leery, somebody walking off.
Yep. Unless you
Especially
worked in
me.
industry, you wouldn't.
So, what have you got left in your budget anywhere more?
Nothing.
I mean, I
A
think,
lot of the money in my budget now, my budget for cooler maintenance and that, I only had $100 and some in there, and I got epoxy paint to seal the floor. Mr. Hauser paid for some stuff out of his own pocket when we had to go in and cut the gas lines and water lines out. He paid for the capping and stuff to seal them off out of his own pocket too. I mean, that's not even on there, which I don't think it was $70, $80. I'm not sure how much all that cost, but whenever they came to put the cooler in, the cooler came in taller than what it was supposed to be. And we had to cut lines, cap them off to get the cooler in.
Didn't they cut the cooler
They
down?
cut the cooler down even to get it under the I-beam. The I-beam was even in the way. They couldn't cut the I-beam because it's holding the roof up.
So Randy, we've used all the maintenance up too, haven't we, this year?
Here, yeah. We're out of money. Do you have anything, I mean, I kind of briefly went through there and I thought there was, and I don't know, the council would have to go along with this here, some money for your cadaver bags and also for your autopsy fees. And I think that stuff reverts, doesn't it?
No.
So in other words, if it's in your autopsy fees, you can encumber it into 25?
No,
It reverts back, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
When he said no, I was like, yes.
So what I'm thinking is if you're gonna lose the money anyway, coming into the first of the year, if the council is okay with it, then take it out of that money that's already been appropriated for the coroner.
we've only got, in the autopsies, we've got right at $1,000 left. I just turned in a bill Friday for $2,700 for, we had enough money left in autopsies fees for 2 autopsies.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I looked at it last night and there was like 4,500 was in there, but that probably doesn't include his $2,700 bill. Just turned it in. And I'm thinking the cadaver bags were like 1,300.
There's no money in the cadaver bag.
So that's going to,
Yeah, whenever you're looking it up, like make sure like whenever I was doing it, I was always going to like 12.5. Because if you put it in as of today, like if I was looking last week, it's not including anything on this claim docket. So always go into after the last, like a date after the claim docket, then you'll get a full view. Because I was always like, last time I looked at this, you had this, and then I was like, yeah, so you have to go to
so you
after,
have to go beyond
beyond the claim.
current date to get what's on the claim docket.
Go beyond, yeah, so like last week when I was looking, I needed to put in after 12/2 because we've got
Okay.
that, so put in
Because
after the
all I do
last,
is I think nothing
as
else.
of today.
I'm up to the
Yeah, I used
current
to do it
day
too.
and that's,
Learn as we go, yeah.
so is there, I mean,
I can go get my laptop and look real quick if you want me to. real
well, I
quick.
mean, if he's used it all up, those are the two bigger areas
Yeah,
that
I ordered
and I thought, you know,
27 autopsy or cadaver bags last Friday.
in that 27, what do you use generally in a whole year?
50 some.
50, so that's about half a year's.
Yep.
But you're buying them in 24, so you won't need that money in 25.
Well, we'll
But
need,
you-
what I'm buying now will get us through maybe June of 25.
Right.
And then, I'm not sure how much they appropriate next year.
Right.
For autopsy bags, but what I bought now, because we're down, I think 3 or 4 autopsy or cadaver bags, so I had to go ahead and order them.
You know, Randy, I don't like to bring this up, but what we could do, seem like it's kind of the go-to fund here in the last couple of meetings, but, you know, the fund, we pulled that out from Steve's highway program. This is infrastructure for our county buildings. We pulled it out when we did the North Station for the EMS. Now this be the same fund. Since it's a improvement to the annex, I don't think it's a bad thing to pull that out of there for, if we have to. If we can find it somewhere else, I'm fine with it,
Yeah.
but if we can't,
I just think whatever Warren would have in his budget that's going to revert back to the general fund, if those funds would come out first,
yes, then we can replace.
and then maybe make up the difference out of that fund, if that's what we want.
I'll be-
The only thing is we got to do a little better job of planning on these things, because at the ARP meeting, it was 25,000. And, you know, we're substantial beyond that.
Yeah, I think we can all learn a lesson from this one. then. But
Because
I think it's a
what
little,
we don't want to start is the practice of, I'll start a project and it's underfunded, then I have to continually come back and ask for more. We've already started it, So what do? Stop and walk away or continue to fund it? So we want to get accuracy needs to be important.
Yeah,
Only fund that I know of that goes back in the budget at the end of the year is
Everything in
So-
general.
$700 that the council approved for lab fees and x-rays. And
We done it all,
I
Robert
didn't-
and Chris?
Yeah, if anything you don't spend in your budget,
that goes
yeah,
back
it
to,
goes
yeah.
back.
Goes back
You start at your new budget amount. You don't, it doesn't carry over.
And if he's already getting cadaver bags for 2025, so he, I don't know whether you could pay those in 2025 and pick up a few dollars there. But I'm just thinking whatever he's got that's available, just ask to have that transferred to meet this need.
There's not much in the budget.
Well, but if it's $500, it's $500.
I'm gonna look real quick. I'll pull up his entire budget at one view so we don't have to go to each of them. Like you didn't bring that paper with you from
No.
the other day.
Seeing we're looking at,
There we go. Okay, so unexpended, it's all payroll.
payroll he'll need.
Office supplies, he's got 6119 left. Fuel and oil, he's got $115.94 left. The big thing he's got here for autopsy, you've got 4,060 left in autopsy fees.
But I just turned in a claim,
So it's not off of,
I just turned in a claim Friday for
so it's not
$27.50.
even, so it's not even in, that'll be on the 17th to claim.
Yeah.
So you had like 4,000 what?
4,060,
60,
yep.
and he turned in for 2,700.
$27.50, I think was the amount.
Here, let me try another.
So you got 1,300.
Let me see. Did you type it in or did you paper turn it in?
I typed it in.
Okay, so let me go here. So you put
So
it in,
I checked with Kimberly this morning, said it went.
so you put it to be paid out on the 17th claim docket.
Right.
so he's
1310
needing
is what
how
he'll have
much
left.
altogether?
1310.
Mhm.
No, how much is he needing?
Warren,
Yes, for this.
$3,454.79.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be is to ask to transfer the remainder of the
Let me ask
autopsy.
you this, you've got 710 left in lab and x-ray fees? Is none,
Right, that's what, I asked for 700 additional, and the council approved it with the
so that's
stipulation.
2020 right there.
Right.
With the stipulation, I don't use it, it goes back into it.
See, in essence, if he came up with 2,000, we'd come up with 1,500
Do that?
to get to the.
Yeah.
So no matter what, at the end of the year, it goes back to the general fund.
Right.
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 So, yeah, we just,
He just let him use his budget up,
yes,
and then we'll make up the difference.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so
good
we're
with
gonna
that.
say-
Out of that one fund, if we have
I
to. yeah.
can, then what's left in autopsy, because their autopsies from this point on is gonna come out next year.
In 25.
Yeah,
Right.
Because I-
Oh, well, everything you're gonna do. By the time it happens and it goes, you get a bill, you'll be in 25.
601. And then 1310 out of 1,000, 31700. Okay,
so we'd be doing.
Okay, so he's basically doing 2 and we're doing 1,500. And we're doing it out of the 7312, I think's the number.
so pay the first 3,500 and the 1,500 out of 7312?
I think we were taking the first 3,500 out of the maintenance account for this courthouse.
There ain't it in there.
There's none there.
Well, what are you
spent-
talking about?
We spent 8,500 or so on putting the air conditioning in here,
Which one is that?
and we had some other minor stuff that came out here. I
Is that the edit?
Don't get, no, it's
I'm
not
just
edit.
trying to get confused. So which one is
Is
this?
that the building maintenance?
Yeah, it's allocated $15,000 for
Yeah.
courthouse maintenance.
Well, we had to have the
15, yeah.
cooler thing done.
Yeah, we had the air conditioning repair.
Yeah.
And there were some miscellaneous things that Greg had done,
Mhm.
but I'm thinking we had 3,000,
Not out
3,500.
of Cume,
I don't have that number off my head.
is it the one out of Cume Cap?
I think
think
it's out of
that's what he-
general fund.
I don't know.
It's a maintenance account. If you look up Alpha, I think that's who did it. Under
Yeah.
vendors, you can see what account it was paid
We
out
also
of.
got two maintenance funds, don't we? The one for the
Yeah, that's what I'm
edit,
saying, there's two.
the one that builds up over
We,
time.
yeah, we have an
And that one-
edit that we're gonna have to pull out and put a number to it.
Yeah.
It comes out of edit.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then
we
we got
have
the
the
original
other
one.
that
Yeah.
comes out of general, where it comes. It's 15,000 what was allocated to the courthouse.
And that's the one that 15,000 is what Greg submits all of his claims on, and
He
there's only
has-
like $441 left in there.
That's good.
Yeah, 1138, 8,000 was, your 8,000 was paid out of 1112.
To Alpha?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's that 15,000 that you're talking about is out of Cume Cap, 1138. And as far as appropriation for that,
Cool cat wouldn't be.
or not, yeah, Cume Cap Development.
It's a property tax.
What was that?
Yeah, it was balanced by. You paid for that, the building maintenance is out of the edit, 1112.
We paid Alpha 8,000 out of 1112.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think we did that. I thought we
I
thought we
paid that
paid out-
air conditioning at the highway garage out of that fund.
Yeah, when Steve
For
had
the,
that,
for the ambulance service.
Yes,
yeah.
but I thought the
Out of-
8,000 for the unit back here came
Came
out
out
of
of
the
that
regular.
15,000.
No.
Yeah,
That 15,000, that's what Greg uses for everything.
Okay.
And I looked the other day because he had said that, and I'm like, no, there's only $441 left in that appropriation out of the 15,000.
okay, what if we would take it out of that, I call it the special edit fund, that what we did the highway north station years
Yeah.
ago, and what we just pulled Steve's program out of.
I
And
think
at the
what
end of the year, can we put back what's left in his budget totally into that edit fund, or is that might be a Chris,
Yeah.
question for,
Yeah,
we have to
do
You're
it.
just exchanging.
I would just do one transfer, whatever Warren has left. I don't know when are the due dates on these bills? Can we give us a couple weeks? Because I think as we get towards the end here, get yours transferred.
I don't think they even got a due date.
Yeah, I'd like to get them cleaned up in 24.
Yeah.
Not running in the next year, because it'll just be much simpler. But get whatever, the difference you're talking about, the old edit, it's a C edit fund.
Yes.
And then what we paid out of was that set aside out of the edit, that we're taking 125,000 for building maintenance.
yes,
We used that to pay for the air conditioning at
at the highway garage.
the highway garage.
North Station.
So, which one, I'm suggesting emptying Warren's accounts to pay as much as he can out of the coroners. Then the remainder, we can either take it out of the old C edit, which is 7312, or out of 1112, which is the new program that is the set aside we're setting out of the edit. Which I don't really.
And then we can make that decision at the next meeting. But he's got to get the claims submitted, and then we got to approve them, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
everything you're
Well,
going
we
to
need
use
to
now
know
come out
to where
2025.
it's ready on the
correct?
claim
From this
document for the
point on,
right.
17th.
well, kind of what Randy just said, I'm okay with that. Take whatever
So that's the
the claims
2,000.
off, got.
2,000 out of Warren's, but we're now gonna have to come up with 5,000, because the 3,500 we anticipated isn't there out of
Yeah.
our maintenance budget for here, apparently.
Okay.
Apparently
Yeah.
Greg spent that money on different other things. So it's not there to
So you're talking about 5,000?
5,000.
So we done committed to 35, but thinking
Yes,
it was gonna come out of the,
Yes,
And it's
and in the
there.
meantime, from the time we
And I
put
miss-
warm, we'd have it. Greg has continued to pay for his projects out of that $15,000.
And that's why I said we have to come here where I need to know where to pay this $7,000 out of, because the 3,500 is not there.
Okay.
So then the question is where we want to get it from.
Now, what's in the maintenance fund?
Well, at the end of this year, there should be 250,000 less 6,000 for the garage.
Okay,
I don't think we've paid anything else out of that.
No,
So
that's
that's
all.
where we'd be.
And that's 7,312, right?
Nope, 7312 seated.
So
so that's probably where it needs to
there's
come from.
there's so many building maintenance where I'm
Yeah,
trying
That's
to,
not a
That's the
building
first
maintenance,
year.
that's an old edit account that was before they changed the local income tax.
what do you,
So you want to take it out of the 7312, that's where we took out the money for Steve's
Program.
software
Yeah,
this year.
Yeah,
that was my first suggestion, yeah.
Okay, so let me get back through this then. Warren account, the expectations are, we'll get 2,000 left over from the coroner's account.
Okay,
We already committed 3,500 that no longer is in our maintenance fund because it's been spent. An additional 1,500 to get him up to the amount he needs to pay his vendors. So we're proposing to take 5,000 out of 7312, which is the old C-Edit fund, to meet those obligations.
and currently right there's 292,907.61. So right under 293,000 in the C edit,
okay.
7,312.
So,
I'll make a motion for that right there.
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Okay.
Just bring me all those bills
Okay.
and I'll take care of all.
Well, I need to fill out a transfer for the, or
I'll get it.
you'll take it.
I'll take care of it.
Good.
Yeah, I'll
Because
probably
it's
just
coming
pay
out,
it. yeah.
one's coming out.
That sums up our business for the day.
Hey, Randy, sorry, I have one other thing with Steve that he grabbed me before the meeting,
Okay,
just to get some guidance from you guys.
Thanks.
So you're all aware of the guardrail issue outside of Leopold, that he just wanted to get some guidance from you about whether to go ahead and install and pay and get that put in. I was talking with him, I guess, and he's talked to the landowner, and the landowner is not willing to voluntarily help, defray the cost of this. We've talked to the insurance. I've looked into the legal issues. I'm not sure whether it's going to be cost effective and certain enough to litigate the issue, as opposed to just putting the guardrail in and eating that cost. No, I mean, Steve can tell you a little bit more about what the cost would be, but I never found anything definitive about a landowner that changes their property and causes a potential issue, having to be then potentially, compensating the county for that new potential issue. So it's uncertain to me. I'm not saying it's impossible, but if he's not going to do it voluntarily, then we'd have to litigate, and then potentially you lose that money in attorney's fees. You might have to pay their attorney's fees, or vice versa. It's not as clear cut about how that decision would go. So I think he's wanting.
what's our cost, Steve? But, and it's using just conventional guardrail.
I told Andrew it's 14,000, but I was wrong, it's about 10,000.
10,000 per
We,
guardrail.
I priced at a different place, and then somebody told me about a place I could buy it direct from, so it saved us close to $4,000 to get it from the same people to the private people get it from. Our concern is, I've had two of you guys ask me about it, I've had two councilmen ask me about it, and don't tell how many people out in the public have asked. And I get phone calls about, are you guys gonna put a guardrail up there? I don't wanna make the county liable in case somebody would run into that. And, something happened there, I don't want them to be able to come back and say, well, we tried to get you to put guardrail up and you didn't. My opinion is, it's not as safe as it used to be. I think it's more dangerous than it was, especially if the roads are slick. If you start over that bank, you're not going to the pond before you stop.
What is the landowner said?
Landowner doesn't want guardrail up there. He don't want to weed eat around, mow around.
How far would it be off the edge of the blacktop?
The guardrail has to be 2 foot from the edge of the pavement
Okay.
legally.
Yeah, because it has to be, because there's some large machinery moves through there, farm machinery.
Yeah.
kind of a blind spot anyway over that.
Would that be in the way of the farm machinery to come through there?
If it's 2 foot off, they could probably, we'd have to keep at least 2 foot off the edge of the road.
How much right of way do we have there?
We've got 50 foot right of way, we've got
Plenty
plenty of
of
right of way. But by NDOT standards, that guardrail has to be 2 foot from the edge of pavement.
So you'd be within legal
Oh, yeah.
reach there.
So 50 foot, so you're really, you can actually put it 3 foot out or 4 foot out if you had
Yeah, but
to.
he has to stay within.
But it's going over the bank at that stage, isn't it?
So does the lake encroach on county right of way?
Part of the dirt they moved was on county right of way. They moved some of it back and then they shoved more back up there, but it's steeper than it used to be. They've increased the size of the lake quite a bit. And used to, years ago, there was no fence there and you couldn't even, there was a little pond there. Maybe the volume on the map, I don't remember what it was, but it's about 4 times the size it was. At one time, it had a fence there where you couldn't see it, and they took down that fence and cleaned it up, and then you could see the pond down there, but it was off the road farther than what the edge of the water is gonna be now. And the bank is gonna be steeper than it was. If you get off the road there and start over at bank, you're gonna be wet by the time you stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too steep for a vehicle to stop on.
If this is public safety, I wish we had something that stated that as far as a guardrail and a curve or,
Yeah, I've checked with everybody on, the Army Corps of Engineers and DNR and all that. And if it's not in a floodplain, they don't have any jurisdiction. Or they said that if your county doesn't have an ordinance on it, then, you just do whatever you decide to do.
And we talked with our insurance agent and said, hey, do you see this as potential liability? Is this unsafe on our part? And they didn't really.
They said if somebody runs in there, we'll defend you guys, but we ain't gonna say it needs this or doesn't need it.
Has the school approached your buses safety or not?
I've had, the Director of Transportation
Okay.
talked to me about it, yes.
I don't think we have much of a choice. Put it in.
So my
Put
next
those in
question is that's a conventional guardrail. I know they have some cabled guardrail.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that is something that would be the property owner would rather see. I don't know what the cost is,
yeah,
whether we could get some way
I
to.
didn't check any prices on that.
still have to weed eat around it though, wait.
You'll have to weed eat around it. You just won't have that big nasty guardrail. I know what he's looking at. He don't want to look through it, but if we installed cabled guardrail, would it make it more acceptable to him?
I can
I
check
don't-
price on that.
I don't know necessarily the cost to see where we are, but the problem we get into is right now, we don't need the guardrail until somebody drives in there and drowns. And then we're gonna look back at this moment, we're gonna say, why didn't we take some type of action? That's our challenge, so.
So the county owns 50 foot right away.
The main thing is staying in compliance with what Steve says IDOT requires.
Right.
That way we're
Yeah,
installing
it
it
has to be.
to their standard.
Yeah.
And Randy's got a valid point around that corner there and a big disc or a planter coming through there.
Yeah.
It's not,
So can you get us the prices by the next meeting, then we'll make a decision which way we want to go. We're going to put something up, I think, the way it looks, so.
I think we're gonna have to just for
I know the
safety's sake.
state, I see a lot of that on the interstates now, the cable.
I'll
So,
get a price on it.
okay. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Anything else, Andrew?
No, that was just what Steve grabbed me before the meeting.
All right. Next meeting's Tuesday, December 17th, 2024, 6 PM here in the courtroom. With that said, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we want to make a decision right before we, on the last meeting of the year? I know you sent an email out here last week.
Yes, so I'm just concerned that, thank you, because I forgot about that. I'm just concerned that the 17th is too early in December for us to have our last claim docket. I've, spoke with department heads and hope that really all we've got left is, utilities and, credit cards that need to be paid off out of the 2024 budget. So I didn't know if you guys wanted me just to, I do have the authority to pay utilities and credit cards. If you guys wanted me to just go ahead and pay those and do a last minute claim docket on the 30th or 31st, or if you guys wanted to have a meeting just with nothing other than the claim docket on the 30th or 31st to approve that. Yes, thank you.
Or can it be, or can you approve it on the second?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If if you guys are good with it just being utilities and credit cards and within my authority.
I think you're gonna determine that.
Yeah.
I kind of figured we'd end up having a meeting because of 13 days in there, 14 days.
Yeah.
Something would happen, but if nothing happens, we don't have to have a meeting.
Okay,
But if it does, and it can be a restricted meeting where we just cover the essentials to get 24 cleaned up, because there's no reason not to
mhm.
taking it into next year.
We always, in years past, always had 3 meetings in December.
Yeah.
Just a rule.
Yeah, that's fine.
I kind of thought we'd end up doing it again anyway.
So do you want to have one on the 30th or 31st?
We don't necessarily have to have one. I mean, I think
Can we
we
make
just,
a call next meeting?
Okay,
yeah, see where you're coming along.
okay,
But my expectations is something will happen, and you'll need to get some action taken before the end of the year, and that's what we've always had to do. And
okay,
if we have to do it, we can have a limited meeting,
okay, sounds good.
so.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Still
I'll make a
any-
motion to adjourn then.
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.